I'm Eric Barnes with the Daily Memphian, and welcome to The Sidebar, a weekly show on the community, arts, culture, and more. Today, we are very, very pleased to be talking with Kontji Anthony. So stay with us for a conversation with Kontji, who has started dancing in her seat with excitement. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
I was going to
me.
scream your name. Actually, I was like, Kontji Anthony!
Hey!
Which is what we did when you agreed to do the debate that we
Yes.
did on WKNO. And you were very nice. And we can talk all about that.
My goodness, yes. Thank you. I am so honored to be. I love podcasting. I just think it's just so now. It's so today. And so I love that you're doing these.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks. So we've got time with you. First, the big news is that you're back on TV after what? About an 18-month break, 2-year break, something like that?
It was May of 2022.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, after that not so little debate, somebody's phone kind of blew up. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Really? That wasn't already done?
No. You have a non-compete in television. And so there's usually, it's a 1-year non-compete for the average on-air person. And so when did we do the debate? Was it July? That was literally,
It was August.
It was August.
I'm looking at Natalie Van
August.
Gundy, producer, who produced that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
So it was like a year and a couple months.
Yeah.
And I guess it was an indicator that my non-compete was up, that I was able to do the debate, because, you know, you get all these requests and I had to turn everything down.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fancy. Things I learned.
That's the inside.
I just, anyone listening, I don't have a non-compete. So just go ahead and just let everyone know.
Hey.
I'm kidding. I'm not going
New
anywhere.
York, London.
Exactly. So you're back on Channel 3. Tell people about the show. Tell what you're doing on Channel 3 now.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So it's a lifestyle show. And what's really exciting is, so it's covering the greater Memphis area. And you know, it's just awesome to be able to touch on positive things that are happening in the community. I just feel like we're at a turning point where every time you turn on the TV, you are going to hear the word murder or war, or you're going to hear something about somebody getting hurt. And so this is literally a space where people can turn on the TV, their children can watch, senior citizens can watch and not feel pain. And so it's just really exciting to be part of that. After 30 years in TV broadcasting, I'm now able to talk about positivity every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The show's weekdays?
It's weekdays. The time has not been released yet. So
a half hour?
It's an hour long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And 30 years.
I know. Yes, people. Okay. I turned 52 in October.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's why, hence the readers. I literally cannot see.
These are bipolar.
I was like, you know what? If he asks me about categories for the show, it's health and wellness.
That's your old person
money
voice?
and financial. Well, when I put my readers on the tip of my nose,
it slows you down.
That is when it's like I go into granny mode. Yeah. So but shopping, the arts, culture, music, barbecue. Hello. Yeah. So just all the things that make our region absolutely special and amazing. The waterfront. You can't move a waterfront, right? Yeah. So there are these things about us that we know that our river city is special.
Yeah.
And so we're showing that, and we're bringing back just love and family, and it's just let's return to that.
Yeah, that's great. That is great, and it's got to be because at WMC when you were there 17 years, you were anchoring. What times in that stretch?
It started out, I started out on 3 different shifts. I did
the life of a television TV
we don't sleep.
It's just,
we don't sleep. So it was like morning, and then I worked afternoons, and then evenings. In 1 week, I would do 3 shifts. And then I said, guys, I'm not sleeping. And so then they were like, okay. So I did day sides. I was just reporting. And so I would be out on, on the scene of breaking news. And you know what's so weird? In all of my 28 years of news, whenever I would go to a murder scene, I could never look over at the body. I literally kept, I would say,
that.
where is it? And I just would be like, okay. But it's all that time I had to, it was just so much pain to look at. But anyway, then I anchored weekend mornings and reported during the week and covered all politics. So I did city hall, county commission, and state politics. And so that became my little, because you know what? I liked being in the meetings. These meetings are microcosms of all the communities coming into one space. And then you're hearing the voices of all these different people from all different parts of the city, the county, the state, and states. And it's fascinating to me. So I loved covering politics, even though I don't really like what happens in politics. That's the weird thing. But,
well, and when we did, again, I'll remind everyone, we're talking to Kontji Anthony. She's now is starting soon at a weekday show on WREG Channel 3 after a 1 year plus break. When we did the debate, which was awesome. Yes. And you'd been on Behind the Headlines a long time ago, once or twice as a guest when we did a journalist roundtable. And then we'd see each other around town. And I had great respect for you. I didn't know how much more respect I should have for you until I saw how you prepped for that debate. It was just amazing. Like I didn't expect otherwise, but I don't know. It was really amazing. Like your questions and your whole kind of the themes you had and the way you kind of framed it all up. I mean, really did guide what we did. It was awesome.
Well, first of all, you and your staff, the setup, the rundown, the layout, the lead in, people don't realize how much goes into those moments. And you guys booking everybody and then having somebody pull out last minute, your whole team had to shift all of the positions, and then our questions went out of. I sharing too much?
No, you're not at all.
TMI.
But I'm pointing at Natalie Mangani, who produced that and produces all our podcasts and produces Behind the Headlines, and it was huge. And then to do it, you've done lots of live TV, but we do Behind the Headlines live to tape. So we don't, so there's some pressure, but you have a safety net. If something goes really haywire, we're going to take that out. And it doesn't happen very often actually, but you have that safety net, but you're going towards this live production and all these pieces have to come together. It was amazing. And Peter Richards, who was a longtime director of Behind the Headlines, he's not anymore, but he directed that. Right. And he was, I would say, the other really essential person. I'm looking at that. Yeah.
Well, I feel such a deep responsibility when you realize that you're going to help somebody make a decision about a vote, and that vote will have years of repercussions. Those are the types of things where I can't sleep at night because I'm like, if I don't get it right, then there are too many lives at stake. You know? Yeah.
What was the thing? I've had a really notable number of people come up to me and say, I really love the debate. Also love when you, Eric, screwed up and Kontji had to save you. What did I said wrong? Okay. I said, yes.
You said that Floyd Bonner dropped out.
I said that Floyd Bonner dropped out of the race, and he had not dropped out of the race. He had at the last minute said he couldn't be there, and it turned out there was a family thing, and it was totally, it's understandable. But I said dropped out and didn't realize that which is an entirely different thing than dropping out of I couldn't make it tonight, and you saved me, and that was
no. Okay, so first of all, yes, I was like, I'm just going to word this, but the thing is, when you respect somebody, you don't want them to feel bad, so you have to find a way.
These are things Natalie should write down.
But here's the thing, and so I was getting my words together, like, how am I going to say this and not be a total jerk, and because I respect this man, and he wasn't wrong. It was just somebody might misinterpret it, and that's all it was. And then Natalie gets in my ear, and I was like, "Yep." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "I'm not crazy," because sometimes, like, you're like, "Do I say this?" Because then I look like a jerk for like calling him out, and then you gave me the power to say, "Okay, it could be misinterpreted." That's all that was. Yeah.
There was this. I don't think I'm giving anything away, but the families and friends of the candidates, the five candidates who were there, were all in kind of a green room, a watch room. Yes. And apparently there was just this uproar of excitement when I said that. and then like, you correct, and they're like, "Oh, darn it."
So they thought
he dropped out.
Less contestant, and he came in second, so that was a big deal.
Anyway, but it was very cool. It was fun to do, but also we got great feedback on it, and was such a even though the turnout was horrible, it was nonetheless, it was a really avidly watched and followed mayoral and in many cases the city council races. But you won't be doing that at Channel 3. You're just going to be watching out of the corner of your eye.
No, I'm a lifestyle TV host. I'm not the news person anymore. So I'm a lifestyle hostess, TV host. And it's just a totally different title.
Yeah.
And one thing that I don't know if people can, there's a Pew Research study that says that people mistake the difference between journalism and, edutainment. So you might see people on a network and they're talking back and forth about an issue. That is not journalism because they're taking a stance on it, right?
Right.
But when you have a fact, then that's put out there. Well, for me to decide to do this, I, in essence, had to, in a sense, give up my journalism career to be a lifestyle TV host.
Oh, really?
In a sense, when you think about it, because it's not journalism per se. It's
right.
more so you're showing people life and culture.
Yeah. But do you think that precludes you from doing something else down the road?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I get what you're saying. Yeah, you couldn't do the lifestyle stuff by day and then on the weekend do a hard-hitting political
Or, you know what, but then there's Gayle King, and, and she's kind of right. So she's very newsy. She's been a news anchor for a long time, but then she kind of does the fun stuff. So maybe I'm trying to be too resolute, like the Bill Drees of the world. We would go to cover the state of the union for the mayor's office, and we would be on the top floor of the Peabody Hotel, and they would be like, okay, sit over here, and we'd go and sit, and there'd be food, and Bill Drees would be like, I'm not eating even a morsel of food because that would be me being bought off. I'm like, wow. No, he didn't say that, but that's what, that's what he did.
I remember the first time going to, it's like a chamber luncheon with him. This was back at the old Daily News. He didn't eat. He just had his notebook
amazing.
out. Yeah.
I have so much respect for that journalist. I'm like, and that is kind of like a gold standard for me. Yeah. When I see people like Bill Drees. And L. Perry. I mean, just amazing staff here.
Yeah. Let me take a minute here. We're here with Kontji Anthony. We'll talk a bunch more with her, but let me do some housekeeping real quick in the middle here. Remind everyone, this is The Sidebar. It airs on WYXR 91.7 every Thursday at 11:30. I'm Eric Barnes, and the show is focused on the community, arts, culture, everything in between. It's not just a radio show, of course. It's one of many weekly podcasts we do at the Daily Memphian, including the Behind the Headlines podcast and TV show that we do over at WKNO, Bill and I, most weeks. We also have Bill Drees and Sam Hardiman do a politics podcast on the record. We have the Memphis Grizzlies podcast. We brought back, I should say, and I've been forgetting to say, the Memphis Tigers podcast. It's hosted by Greg Gaston and features a lot of our Tigers writers every week. We also have a food podcast, Sound Bites, with Chris Harrington and Holly Whitfield, sometimes together, sometimes taking turns hosting. That airs also on WYXR every Thursday at 11. All of our podcasts are on the Daily Memphian site, as well as iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get the WYXR shows. That'd be The Sidebar and Soundbites at WYXR.org or on the WYXR app. It includes all the shows on WYXR, including the talk shows, but also the music shows. So all the archives of various music shows, which is great. Kontji Anthony taking really skillful selfies with, wow. That's really good. See,
you have to get the angle.
You were getting the angle. It's good. So go immediately to Kontji's Instagram or
at Kontji.
At Kontji. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. At Kontji. See, I should have at Ricky B. Because we were talking about when we walked in and Kontji's like, she goes, hey, do you ever go by Rick? And I started laughing. I was like, no, only when my kids and my girlfriend are making fun of me. And if they're really making fun of me, they call me Ricky B.
I think that is the best. I imagine him with like a necklace. And,
I don't know.
There's
a story. There's a story. I accidentally named myself that as a joke and it stuck. But anyway, there's a lot of love there.
Can't be unheard, anybody.
Exactly. Again, back to the Sidebar. Coming up next week, we've got the filmmaker Mike McCarthy. We've also, a week after that, we've got three folks from the newsroom talking, again, about our 5th anniversary that we just had, where we are, where we're going, where we've been. Recently, just that end, we had Andy Cates, my friend and co-founder and board chair, Dan Conaway, today. Kate and Jason from our tech team, all talking about the 5th anniversary. Even Jeff Calkins and I back in the summer, and Otis Sanford came on, and we talked about kind of his career and then the evolution of local journalism. So all those are in the Sidebar podcast feed. I mentioned Behind the Headlines, which we do with the great folks over at WKNO. We've got a bunch of really good shows coming up, thanks to our great producer, Natalie Van Gundy. Pause for effect. But truly, Beverly and Howard Robertson, if you've been reading Daily Memphian, they did a series of community conversations, kind of focus groups around the city, talking to all kinds of people about the crime problem, public safety, perceptions of crime, realities, what people want. It's a really good series of articles. There's a very good report they wrote, and they're going to come on the show and talk about that this week. We've also got newly elected Mayor Paul Young coming on to talk about his agenda and hiring and everything he will be willing to tell us, which probably won't be very much, but we'll try. We've got outgoing Mayor Jim Strickland for 2 shows coming up in November, which will be great. We'll sit with him for an hour, talk about his whole 2 terms in office, talk about his time as a city council, talk about all the things he wants to talk about and all the things he probably doesn't want to talk about. But it'll be great. It'll be really good and good to sort of do that as he winds down his 2 terms as mayor. Doug McGowan's coming up, which is the head of MLGW. We're doing a show on fiber and broadband and that big proposal, parks, all kinds of great stuff coming up. And we recently had JB Smiley and Chase Carlisle from the city council on talking about their agenda, which is be an interesting kind of pairing with Paul Young. Last but not least, a couple of things. We've got our last of the year business seminar coming up. This is the commercial real estate seminar, and we'll actually have Paul Young there to talk about his agenda and as it relates to economic development and real estate and development. And we also have Ursula Madden, who's now with Ford and Blue Oval City and she's basically I don't know what her formal title is, but she's kind of the community liaison. She may kill me for that, and she will kill me for that if she doesn't like it. But she's going to be there to talk about Ford and everything that's going on with the Ford plant. Also Gwen Fisher from the Memphis Chamber of Commerce, and 3 guys whose names I don't even know, but they'll be good too. They're actually going to be talking about the office market, the retail market, and the warehouse market. You can't take that out. Natalie's like, I'm taking that out, but you can't take it out. They'll be great. I just don't have their names in front of me. I'm not even sure their names have been determined.
They have.
Whoops. Well, go to Eventbrite and learn more. Okay. Well, I've got a lot going on today. The commercial real estate seminar this is just like one big ad in the middle of the show. November 30th at 3 p.m. at the Botanic Garden, or the Botanic Gardens. It's not the gardens. Okay.
You had it right. Go with your first mind.
But you know what?
Your first
Word
mind.
was auto-correcting it to gardens as I was typing. And so I'm just saying, I'm up against a lot here. You need tickets to go to this seminar, and go to Eventbrite, search for Daily Memphian, and do buy your tickets soon, because we have a feeling that one it generally sells out, but it will probably have even more folks there this year. We recently had our Developing Memphis seminar. That's you can get video of that on the site. We had 3 really cool projects. The Malone Commons project was a very small but Malone Park Commons. Sorry, really cool neighborhood redevelopment up in uptown near downtown. Bill Gaines was there talking about the Greyhound redevelopment, and then we had Chuck. Also goes by Charles Pinkowski, talking about hotels, hotel development, and so on. And you, Kontji Anthony, coming back to you, you were nice enough in, February of this year. You did our women in, no, was it?
It's been a few years.
It's been a few years. It was at the Brooks. God, I have no sense of time. But you did our Women in Business seminar. It was really cool. And there's video of that. If people search Kontji Anthony on our site, you'll find it.
The pandemic made it so that 2 years just didn't exist.
I know.
I literally for 2 years I said, yeah, I've been in Memphis for 16 years, and I'm like, wait a minute. I've been here 18 years, and I'm like, I just literally canceled the pandemic because I just didn't I didn't want it to happen.
No.
There's that.
There was that. It was horrible. I was going to ask, behind the scenes of TV, like. For it's crazy that you were doing that many, like hosting that many shows, like that, the time commitment of that.
Yeah.
I have learned, I do Behind the Headlines once a week, and it's a 30-minute show.
Right. And
it's just, it's a big, it takes a lot more than if you do it right, it looks like effortless. Right. So, it's to do this now weekday show, this lifestyle show, You're making sense, and it's glad that it's positive and lifestyle and lighter, but it will still be a tremendous amount of work.
Oh my
to
goodness.
pull this off.
Yeah. I was up at 0 dark 30 today. My eyes opened at 5 this morning, and then I started thinking about, all the bookings that need to happen, all the closing all the loose ends, and then you want to check in on, what's happening in the world. And then, there's a lot, that just goes into booking. But, when I think back, before I came to Memphis, I was the morning anchor, but I would anchor 2.5 hours of news. No, it was a 3-hour show. I was solo. Yeah, it was solo.
Solo?
Right? And so, wait. No, I'm lying. It was 2.5 hours of solo anchoring, but I had a weather guy. And so we would be on live, but it set me up for everything. Okay. And then I would get off the set and then produce the noon show and then anchor the noon show.
Was that here? That was
before I came here.
Yeah,
that was in my late 20s. So I was able to do it, and 52 is a different story. No, but the thing is, all that knowledge that you kind of get inside of you, it shortens the distance between you and what you need to achieve because you know how to do it now. So I was gone for a year and I came in and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to, what am I going to do? Like, I'm not going to know what to do. And then ENPS, do you guys use that? It's an Associated Press software.
Yeah.
And I go right into the software and I'm like, Control F2. And I'm like, yay, that means take VO. And I knew the standard commands. And so I could go right in and I was like typing and I'm like, oh, I know all of the standard codes for producing.
Yeah.
So it was just exciting. Yeah. And people think, oh, you're just on the air. But when you look at reporters and you look at anchors, I think that they are information warriors because first of all, you're there at a person's worst moment in their life and you're that person who's supposed to distill that information. So I just, that it's really... It's very involved.
Yeah.
And then it's 3D because it's, TV, sound, and then writing and words. And it's all the things.
It's all the things. I can't believe you're up. So were you just kind of getting up early like that and talking mostly? I mean, you only talk to the weatherman so much. And then you're doing these things. Did you ever just get completely out of body? I mean, you must. You just be, I would.
I got slap happy. Like it would be more like the thing was I stopped worrying so much about mistakes.
Yeah.
Because when you worry about mistakes, you make them. And so what would happen is I'd make fewer mistakes when I worried less. And then because I've had so many hours of live television, I have less anxiety because my hands would shake and I couldn't even read the scripts when it started out. Yeah. So it was just repetition. Anybody could do it. You could do it too. You could do it too.
But not as well as you.
Just repetition.
It is interesting. The handful of times over the years. I mean, how many live we've done? I've done quite a few live debates now. I think televised. Yeah. And then we used to do a live show after the governor stayed, and they're periodically. So I've done them. The one nice thing about it is terrifying, but when you make a mistake, you have to have this moment where you realize, well, I can't stop.
I have
no safety net.
Just fix
Hopefully
it.
someone's going to save me when I say something wrong, but otherwise, like something's going to go wrong, and you just kind of keep talking, and then it's over, and you just sort of
boom.
And one thing that's I thought, and maybe I'm just talking myself into this, but I do think post-pandemic with so much TV happening with guests on bad Zoom and bad sound and just all that kind of exposure of that it can go wrong and people still watched. And in the end, you want to be able to hear the person, right? You want to be able to basically see them. But in the end, you care more about what they are saying than it being perfect. And that I think has created a little bit more forgiveness among viewers and everyone that, it doesn't have to be perfectly lit and perfectly perfect.
What he said, because I didn't even think about that until just now. Yes, I think that because they had so many Zoom disasters that then they realized all the things that could go wrong in a TV broadcast. And so then it just kind of broke the fourth wall and people were able to empathize with
Right.
with people in broadcasting. So it changed everybody. And then they were like, "Oh, I have to have good lighting. Oh, the camera has to be this angle. Oh, what about the backlight?" And they realized all the things that broadcasters do that's very difficult.
Right. I don't even know. How did you get into this whole business?
It was not by choice or plan. No, I tried everything. I was like, I want to be an architect because I was like the president of the Art Honor Society in my school because I loved drawing, painting.
Where'd you grow up? Where was this?
New Rochelle, New York.
Okay.
My mom's from Mississippi, so it's like that's why I feel at home here. I think she's a farm girl from Lormond. She went to Alcorn. She was a Golden Girl. So anyway, so there I am. My parents they're like trying to figure out what are you going to do with your life, and I was like 12,
No pressure.
That's how they think, though. So I'm like, I want to be an architect. And then I'm like, no, I don't. And then I was like, I want to be a photographer. And I got this camera. It was a Canon and it just sat there like a paperweight. And then I said, well, I want to be a computer programmer. And then like, I would just play video games.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I want to be a tennis player because I was a state champ. Yeah.
Were you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
New York Junior Tennis League. So
Sam Harder on our staff needs to know about this because Sam's a big tennis player.
Really?
Yeah, and he needs to know that you were a champion of a state and he was not.
This
will make Sam very mad.
Do what I can.
I'm going to bring this up. Keep going though. So you're figuring it out. You're going to be a tennis star and an architect.
I had to take it was like I had to take a certain class in high school to graduate, and then it was like broadcasting. We had a show called Views from the Bridge, and my friend was on Club MTV. And so I did a superstar interview. Wait, but I will tell you, her name is Valerie Adler, and now she's now Valerie Leon, and she is like a top like Valentino buyer. And she's like, she's
nice.
an international buyer, but she was she danced on Club MTV.
More dancing.
And so I interviewed her. Yeah, I did.
This is the most dancing we've ever had on I was going to say Behind the Headlines. We've had no dancing on Behind the Headlines, but now we've had dancing on the sidebar. So. Yeah, it does.
Well, now we know. But I realized that broadcasting was the one thing that used every fiber of my being, and everything else was like I would get bored after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
But broadcasting, it was like there's technical, like so I love the technical. I like editing. I like shooting. I like writing. I like meeting people. I like to talk to people about new and cool things. So all these things, it stimulated every part of my brain.
Yeah. Well, I speak for everyone. Glad that you are back on TV in Memphis. And we're pretty much out of time. I always ask people, though, first concert you ever went to?
Stacey Ladisaw.
Stacey.
I found love on a two-way street and lost it on a lonely highway.
That's awesome. That's also a first. You have to come back now.
Do you remember
kind
that
of
song? You were like 5. Yeah, Stacey
well,
Ladisaw.
I'm older than you.
Oh.
I'm 55. I'm older.
He is 3 years off.
I'm
Whoa.
senior. Oh.
Yeah, it was
but come on. As you know, once you hit 50, every year matters a lot. Like I am so much younger than my brother.
Yeah.
He's 2 years older than me.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. He's 57.
Yeah.
Where was it? Was that up in New Rochelle?
It was in New York City.
How, like teenager when you saw it? Or?
No, I was like probably like 11.
Yeah.
Really. Like, yeah.
Awesome. That's
But,
great. No, that's great. That's really good. That's a first.
I've also been to the Sugar Cubes and Prince, and I never made it to Madonna. I wish I had.
Yeah.
And
We've had a lot of people see
Echo and the Bunnymen, Love and
Prince.
Rockets.
That's a first for Sugar Cubes with Bjork, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, that's
Yes.
good. All right. Kontji Anthony, thank you so much. Anytime you want to come back, we will have you back. And good luck with the new show, Channel 3, starting soon.
November.
Starting
6th.
in November 6th. Okay, starting November 6th. That is all the time we have. If you missed any of the show today, go to WYXR, go to Daily Memphian, go to wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next week.